The world is yours. The process of attainment depends on the choice of the individual, but in the long run the result is always the same. These lectures so far have been designed to help you have a broad knowledge about yourself and the universe you live in. Attainment is not reached by the mere study of metaphysics, but by the application of the principles of metaphysics in your daily life. Metaphysics deals with the subject beyond what appears as the physical phenomenal world. Metaphysics deals with the causative process and the final purpose of the universe. To be anchored in the awareness of your true and essential nature is the first as well as the last step towards attainment. Life comes from life, and you are a unit of life. You came here for life and for the promotion of life. Attainment is not devoid of pain, but is the unfoldment and expression of the beauty that constitutes your true nature. You will be living in the awareness of your true nature by constantly reminding yourself of the truth that you are a life-giving spirit expressing the image and the likeness of God. You are pure consciousness, spirit, in the garment of mind and matter, which only serve as prism for the expression of your glorious spectrum of divine glories. Some of the colors of your spectrum which you have designed to express to beautify life without condition or for any expected rewards are peace, love, beauty, creativity, order, wisdom, intelligence, and soundness, etc. You give out these qualities to beautify life because it is your duty to do so. The import of the above message is only attainable when you come to the realization that all of life from the manifested to the unmanifest is made up of one basic substance, God. In other words, all of life is God in expression. Coal, graphite and diamond are different in their composition and function, yet their substance is simply carbon. The identity of glass may change in the varying conditions of appearance, but the substance is the same. The basic substance of the louver blades, the Pyrex bowl, the bottle, the tumbler, the windscreen, and the spectacles is nothing but glass. So the one power appears in infinite manifestations. Therefore, all things and substances, organic and inorganic, are extensions of one another. Our knowledge of God has come from books that have been described as the Word of God. This description has caused great confusions and wars in the world. Most of the literatures written about the lives of godly people have come from prehistorical records, oral records and written records. Historical information or any form of retelling has some distortion in it. They are not devoid of error, contradictions, and some amount of ambiguity. The Bible of the Christians, the Quran of the Muslims, and the Bhagavad Gita of the Hindus are no exceptions to this rule. It, therefore, calls on the aspirant to read any of these scriptures with a discerning mind. Many people have become agnostics and atheists owing to the claim of the religionists that the scriptures were direct inspirational writings from God. Information from an omnipotent, omnipresent, and an omniscient God must not contain any ambiguities, contradictions, or omissions. People who have worked towards the writing and preservation of the scriptures were, however, great and God-loving people, and their efforts deserve praise and commendation. But in the field of every human endeavor there is room for correction and improvement. At best, books such as the Bible, Quran, and Bhagavad Gita should be described as the God experiences of God-seekers. A closer look at these books reveal that essentially they all seek to teach of one God whose nature permeates the entire universe as creative, love, intelligence to whom we must awaken. In such awakening, man knows himself as one with that which is, and also as an extension of his fellowmen, the trees, the stars, and the galaxies. In short, man is a microcosm, small universe of the macrocosm, big universe. The created universe is the body of the Creator. Thus, the fall of man is an allegory that simply teaches that man is a whole and complete idea of the creative, love, intelligent universe that we call God, but is not fully evolved. Our lives here are parts of the evolutionary process of the Creator. Man is not composed of material elements. Man is a spirit, just as God is, dwelling in the garment of matter. In such awareness, man sees no need to steal to clothe himself, to cheat another for his daily bread, to kill to defend his interest, or be jealous or envious about his fellow man. He knows that all that his brother has is his as well, and he takes the privilege to enjoy the fruits of life that have expressed as himself. When the foregoing explanation becomes man's awareness, he awakens from the dream of mortality to the realization of his eternal soul. He will no more dream the carnal dream of two powers, a power of good versus a power of evil constantly fighting each other for supremacy. The one life, in the course of expressing its infinitely diverse attributes, cannot be opposed to itself. God, the great life and the great architect of the universe, of whom we are a part, is often referred to as the omnipotent, the omnipresent, and the omniscient. God will not be omnipotent if there is another power besides him. He would not be omniscient if there is another wisdom competing with him. He would not be omnipresent if there is another presence besides him. God, the all-person, cannot be opposed to himself. In all of the 6 phases of creative emanations, not a mention was made of the creation of another power, devil. He who said on the 7th phase of creative emanation, 7th day, that all he had manifested or expressed were good cannot be seen as untruthful by his creation. If the devil appeared on the scene of life after the great architect had made his proclamations that all things were perfect, then the devil's presence makes itself known only when we fail to recognize the perfect and the harmonious order of all things. The devil as an entity or force no more exists for the awakening soul. You, and only you, are responsible for your experiences. You caused them or you allowed them. Uncontrolled thoughts and feelings patterns due to unawareness are the cause of man's pain and misery. Man must have full control over his feelings. With eagle-eye watchfulness, do not make yourself a plaything of wandering thoughts and desires. In the face of all the seeming sham, pain, and the drudgery of the world, the universe is still unfolding beautifully as it should. We unfold with the gradual process of the universe by the recognition of our creative potential and properties. By the agency of thought backed by feeling and desire, we can mold creative substance into varying forms. Our molded forms are the projections of our inner ideas, which could be destructive, giving us agonizing pain, or constructive, giving us fulfilling joy. The choice of what we create is ours alone. The gods will not oppose nor agree. After all, they are extensions of our own being. Desire is a very tremendous force, and the aspiring Chela must always be careful of what thought patterns his desires must take. Paraphrasing the scriptures of Proverbs 23:7, as a man thinks in his head, backed by the feelings of his heart, so he becomes. We are cosmic life in expression. As cosmic life, we are formless yet capable of assuming all forms. Through the agency of thought and feeling, we mold our forms. Whatever personality or form we hold presently is the sum total of all our thoughts and feelings of yesterday. We can reveal a financially poor, morally weak, socially dejected, mentally confused, emotionally grieved, and physically sick personality. Or we can create its opposite, an abundant and spiritually, mentally, emotionally, socially, economically, and physically prosperous and healthy personality. The choice is ours, and what we project depends on what we know and believe about ourselves. Watch your desires, for every desire carries with it the motive force for its fulfillment. Analyze every desire and see if the outcome will produce harmonious, godly atmosphere. Since it is the nature of the soul to be fully expressive, there is the need for an inborn soul property which will project all expressions before us. This inborn property, projecting our inner causes into effective manifestation, guides us rapidly unto attainment. The recognition of this law of karma as an essential force of our being to propel us unto quicker mastery of our environment makes us work in harmony with our own inner processes and not against them. Eternity is the goal of life, and the individualized soul moves on from incarnation to incarnation, gathering experiences which make him become more aware of his own soul's worth. What would life be if we were to incarnate and continue to live in this limited, finite body forever? Life would be at a standstill and devoid of its expressive, vibrant quality. This could be likened to a fig tree that refuses to grow further or bear fruits. We will call for the cutting down of such a tree. Understanding and working with the law is to assist in the evolutionary process of the universe, as well as to unfold personal properties. Scripture put it that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. God and his law that regulates all things in perfect order are one, but God and his law need not be feared but loved. Paraphrasing then, we would say, the love of the law is the beginning of wisdom. The first 3 verses of Psalm 1 reads, "Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper." Therefore, true spiritual and physical prosperity could only be attained by total understanding of the workings of the law and cooperating with it. The law is a feedback system inherent in us as our God nature, to direct and redirect man for perfect evolution unto godhood. The aspiring disciple, who might still be confused about the nature of the working of the law, should simply imitate in devotion the lifestyle of the masters who have walked this way. The steps of any master, past and present, who appeals to you could be emulated. For example, before doing an act, thinking a thought, or facing a situation where you are called to be a judge, ask yourself, what would my leader do in a circumstance like this? What would be Jesus' response to this challenge? In such a contemplative moment, you will be lifted up to that grace of wisdom that flowed through Jesus, and you will respond accordingly. Affirm this daily. I am not a slave to the law, but a master of it. I work harmoniously with the law to express the grace of my soul. I am not under the law, but under grace that works out beauty with the law. The law, however, is in itself an instrument of grace, which guides us from incarnation to incarnation until perfect maturity of the soul is attained. You have the capacity to set into motion holy principles whose fruits would certainly be reaped here or in later incarnation. One way of working with the law of your being is by prayer. Prayer is the scientific method of assembling mental and emotional ideas into manifestation. Prayer never seeks to change God, your larger self, nor the creative substance of life. It does not bend nor reverse the course of evolution. On the contrary, prayer opens the supplicant to accept the ever-limitless grace of peace, love, joy, wisdom, etc., which is already present in his being, though in subtle forms. Prayer is conscious communication with our larger self. This is achieved by renewing or clearing our mental and emotional barriers to allow the free flow of soul qualities. The soul is already clear, total, and fulfilled. All that is necessary is to remove restricting tendencies, then the soul attributes express naturally. Prayer is a way of life. It is a life of talking to God and listening to Him as well. This art of listening is best achieved by meditation. To make our prayers very effective, we sometimes fast not only from food, but from the restricting tendencies like hate, envy, malice, cheating, and other negative traits. Fasting helps in the cleansing of the body, the opening of the psychic pathways for the storing of cosmic energy in our system. "Thy will be done" is a powerful prayer that silences the supplicant into listening for what the cosmic will is. With this prayer, the supplicant knows that God's will for him is the best and must be allowed to express. Another form of prayer is silent contemplation. A contemplative prayer analyzes what is and how it can manifest beneficially within the law of cause and effect. This takes into consideration God's plan within time, space, and circumstances. Prayer must not be a momentary order of ceremony, but it must be a moment-by-moment act of bringing mind, feeling, and body in harmony with the unfolding process of life. A way of bringing about this symmetrical harmony is through the harnessing of cosmic energy by cosmic vibration. The use of sound, color, perfume, amulets, and talismans as vibratory instruments to purify mind, feeling, and body is a scientific reality.
Among the aforementioned, the use of sound can be applied by children and adults equally. Its proper use must always result in mantramic, mind-freeing effects. Mantra and other cosmic chants must form a useful part of our daily worship. This is necessary because the whole universe is made up of spiritual electromagnetic waves of vibrations. Man must therefore be mindful of the varying effects of the vibrations he comes in contact with and be creatively selective of the environment he chooses to be in. To manifest your creative ideas, you must be in harmony with cosmic vibrations. The aspirant needs to know that the universe is filled with visible and invisible intelligences, some of which are like himself, and that he is a link in the universal chain of oneness with all of such beings. The aspirant must therefore be alert so that he is not unduly influenced or possessed by the ideas, suggestions, and presence of these incarnate and discarnate entities. About 99% of human beings are momentarily possessed one time or the other in their lives. They live and act in a mesmerized state only to awaken moments later and ask why they did what they did. In their right senses, they would not have done the act for which they blame themselves. Have an inquiring mind that investigates every thought, feeling, and action. Are all thoughts, feelings, and actions yours? Does radio or televisions easily influence you? If yes, then you can easily be possessed or obsessed by undesirable forces. You will become stronger when you learn to choose the thoughts you want to think, the feelings you feel, and the actions you take. The mind abhors vacuum, so start your day by choosing your thoughts, feeling, and actions before they choose you. It is usually very difficult for the student to appraise his daily progress. Many masters like Buddha, Krishna, Zoroaster, and Jesus, etc., have walked along the shores of life serving as mirrors in which we could weigh and access ourselves daily. It is possible here and now for the truly desirous aspirant to reach a level of pure awareness of his oneness with the universal light and declare as Jesus declared, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me." The life of the masters like Jesus must always serve as an inspiration for us to strive towards the attainment of the pure consciousness which they attained.
Idolizing the master is of little value. A useful way is to emulate their thinking, feeling, and action patterns and come to the realization that the power which was operative and operating in them is within you as well. What the masters are is what you will eventually be. Be desirous of undergoing the disciplines they went through, bear the suffering they bore, and their final crown of attainment will be yours, until from the depth of your soul you can realize that I am the way, the truth, and the life. You have not touched the hem of salvation. There are many books, literature, and schools of thought that hold the accounts of many illumined masters and prophets. Most of such books have been written within environmental and traditional concepts of certain groups of people. The message of all of the masters, however, is one that embodies truth and love. The final stage for the aspirant is to bring all of his knowledge together to plan and execute an ordered program for the maintenance of his mental, emotional, and physical well-being. Health in all aspects of life, be it economic, social, or physical, must be realized as a natural condition of the individual. It is unnatural to be sick, a crime to be financially poor, and diabolic to be spiritually unstable. A useful program would include hatha yoga, pranayama, and taekwondo for emotional and physical well-being, contemplation and meditation for mental clarity and the release of soul attributes. These combined with the proper eating and habits, rest and recreation will reveal a healthy constitution. We will recall the words in 3 John. 1. 2. Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health even as thy soul prospereth. A healthy body is a welcoming guest chamber for the soul. A sick body is its prison. Having lived in accordance with the said principles, you now attain conscious immortality. You live moment by moment in eternity. The natural transition when life's task is over no more becomes a thing to dread. Death, transition, comes as an ever-welcome guest in spite of the forms of masks it may take on to appear. The final enemy and all the fears that go along with it is conquered. Death, translated to mean cessation of life, is by the very law of life impossible, and you know it. Death is realized as a milestone of the soul's journey to express its limitless godly attributes. Thus, expressing in these limitless attributes by adhering to the principles and the message shared in all of your lessons without fear of any malevolent power, the world is yours. In the full might and authority of your mystical awareness, you will be qualified to stand behind the eternal gates of light and demand entry. In your conquering might you will call forth, "Lift up your heads, O ye gates, and be ye lifted up, ye everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in." Psalm 24:7. And when you are asked, "Who is this King of glory?" you will further declare,
"The Lord strong and mighty, the Lord mighty in battle. I have battled with my lower self and have attained my actual self. I have fought with delusion in its infinite appearances and have revealed the one power as the source of all things." You will demand with the heir's authority, "Lift up your heads, O ye gates, and be ye lifted up, ye everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in." But who is this King of glory? The heavens would like to know. The Lord of hosts shall be your final reply. Your voice shall ring with thundering eloquence.
"I am the Lord of hosts of all that there is. I am the darkness full of creative substance. I am the light of definition for all the creative substances you contain. I am the light and the darkness made manifest, yet one. I am one with all and the hosts of all, and none exist without me. I am one that contains all. I am two that projects itself into creativity. I am three that reveals itself as perfect equilibrium. I am the glorified through trials. The rescuer of matter is my name. The Lord of hosts is my name. And with these the gates of the eternal lights are opened, and with the everlasting lords and holy mothers of life, even the ascended hosts, you will sit and commune with inner realities. The whole world is yours, and as a god or goddess, you function and live your truest purposes. What you have learnt so far, man is the glorified kingdom of God on earth. He has temporarily missed the mark of his divinity, but the divine that he is has not missed out on him. Metaphysics is the roadmap to the scientific investigation and knowing of truth. Only such a truth brings true freedom. Life is spirit unfolding and must be embraced in wholeness.
Practical application of the topic.
From all that you have studied, what purpose is your life fulfilling? Eat, mate, sleep, and die. Design a divine meaning for your life, showing how you will achieve it. Affirmations. 1. All that God is I am, and all that I am God is. God is all that there is, and I am the divine emanation of God.